Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Reinventing Mental Health, where we are talking about root causes for mental health as well as functional treatments. And we also walk on people's journeys to hear how they have healed. So today I have with us my friend Natalie Ledbetter. She is the owner of Upgrade Labs in Austin, Texas. Thank you so much for joining us today, Natalie.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about you and your journey and what brought you to Upgrade Labs.
Well, you want the short version? So I started my career doing anesthesia, and I did 24-hour shifts.
Wow.
Needless to say, a lot of coffee, maybe 2 to 3 pots a day, and I developed a lot of health issues that Western medicine didn't seem to have any answers for. I had something called PSVT, paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, so my heart rate would go from what it is now to like say 170.
Wow.
And how I discovered this, I'm lying in the call room one night, getting a little bit of sleep, and I hear this thunking on the wall, and I think, oh my gosh, what is happening next door? And it was me. My heart was pounding so hard and so fast that it was causing the headboard to hit against the wall. Trying to figure out what was going wrong with me. The doctors were like, well, here, take this beta blocker, a blood pressure medicine. It made my blood pressure so low that I couldn't stand up without passing out. And then the next thing they wanted to do was maybe ablate something in my heart. And I just thought, there has to be something better. And so that was the start of my journey, looking into maybe alternative health and other ways to help people and myself.
So what did you learn?
Well, I went to see a naturopath, which way back then, 35 years ago, was not really something people in Texas did. The first thing she asked me was to give her a record of all the things that I consumed, including drinks. And when she found out how much coffee I had and all the stimulants, she took me off of caffeine, which was really hard. And then eventually I was diagnosed with adrenal fatigue. And so that was probably a 5-year journey of doing alternative therapies to help cure that adrenal fatigue. Once we got a handle on that, the next issue that popped up for me, which I'd actually had since I was about 14, was depression. But now that the adrenal fatigue was addressed, the depression started getting worse and worse, especially when we lived in Washington State for 9 years. That seasonal affective disorder really kicked me in the butt.
So for our viewers who don't know what adrenal fatigue is, can you describe what you were experiencing?
So for me, and typical for people with adrenal fatigue, is your adrenal glands, they dump your norepinephrine and your adrenaline. They help you have energy, they help you with the fight or flight. But when you have adrenal fatigue, your adrenal glands get tired out, and so they don't produce as much adrenaline as you need. So the symptoms for me were extreme fatigue, difficulty getting out of bed, especially doing 24-hour shifts. Then mine got so bad that my cortisol level was so low that it wouldn't rise at all, so that led to increasing fatigue. And then at night, what would happen is my blood sugar would drop, so my cortisol would dump, and the adrenaline would dump, trying to get my blood sugar up, which would wake me up out of a sleep if I got sleep, which led to then sleep deprivation, which led to even more fatigue, just this bone deep tiredness. Just, it was really difficult to live, to function, to get out of bed, to do anesthesia, to take care of my kids, to do anything.
And it was this cycle that was just like it kept perpetuating in the background and feeding each other.
Well, because I kept taking more stimulants, trying to take care of this fatigue and this tiredness and get more energy. And all I was doing is like beating my poor adrenal glands, and they just were like, I don't have any more.
Well, and so cortisol, everybody thinks that that's a bad word. We actually need cortisol. Yep. It plays an important role in our sleep-wake cycles. We need a healthy level of it on a regular basis. So cortisol is not the bad word that it has the reputation of having. So when cortisol is out of balance, that definitely has a really negative impact on your sleep-wake cycles, but it actually also impacts your hormones and your insulin, which a lot of people don't realize.
Yes, like you said, cortisol, we need it. I have a friend who he does not make enough cortisol. So for him, he actually has to supplement cortisol. Otherwise, he can't function. It was just in my case, my body had gotten so tired and so beaten down from abusing myself and working so much and not getting sleep that it got to where my cortisol level was just super low all the time, except in the middle of the night when I'm supposed to be sleeping, when cortisol level is supposed to be low, then mine would dump along with adrenaline to try to bring my blood sugar up.
And most people don't know about that interplay, so I'm glad that you brought that up. So what were some things along the path that helped you to regulate that adrenal fatigue?
Well, the first thing was giving up the stimulants so that I had a chance to give my body time to rest, let my adrenals come down because I was constantly flogging them, asking them to make more adrenaline. Then she had me do allergy testing, so I, for a while, gave up gluten and corn, soy, which was funny. At the time I was vegetarian, so I'd been doing a lot of soy. Then she had me do high colonics. My GI system wasn't quite regulated, so for me it was normal to go to the bathroom once every 5 days or so. And no one had ever told me that that was abnormal, right? Even Western medical doctors. And I did anesthesia, so you would think I would know that, but we're never taught, or we weren't at the time, 36 years ago, that you're supposed to have a bowel movement, at least once a day. So she had to help me clean out all the toxins that were building up in my system from things hanging around in there. They weren't moving through like they were supposed to. The universe blessed me we had moved to Whidbey Island, and there were no anesthesia jobs for me, and I had 3 small kids. The closest job was in Seattle, and so I just couldn't make that commute. It forced me to take a break for a while, for a couple of years from doing anesthesia, and that, I think, was so key in my healing, at least from the adrenal fatigue, was allowing myself to get to rest.
And that's a huge part of it. So many of us are going, and working multiple jobs just to make ends meet. As women, we're often working full-time, being moms full-time, balancing all of those things, and we do not give ourselves enough grace and time to rest. When did you start to notice that you were starting to feel a little bit better?
It was a long journey. The whole time we lived on Whidbey Island, which was 9 years, even after I went back to work, I started just doing anesthesia as a Red Cross volunteer. I needed to do that so that I could keep my license. But because I was doing it as a volunteer, I didn't have to work super hard and super long hours. That helped me to balance my life. At the same time that I was healing from the adrenal fatigue, the depression was taking over and getting worse and worse and worse. So it's difficult to say when in that time period that my adrenals started feeling better, because then it was the depression that kind of took over my life. And it got to the point where I had to force myself to get out of bed. I would have to talk my body parts out of the bed because the depression was so profound and so deep.
So what did you do to help with the depression?
I tried a few different antidepressants, which either made me gain weight, took away my libido. One of them, Prozac, actually caused me to, I say go crazy, but it just caused me to hallucinate and think that someone said something that they didn't say. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. I can't take that anymore. So what really made the difference? Because even talk therapy, I'm just talking and I'm just saying the same thing over again, but what I'm saying isn't changing anything. It's not making me feel any better. Well, a friend brought me a light panel.
Okay.
And at the time it wasn't red light. It was just UV light panel designed for seasonal affective disorder. And I would sit in front of that light for 15-minute sessions, and that is what made the biggest difference for me. And that's what I credit that and my daughter's sickness for getting me into biohacking. And then after that, it just opened up the floodgates to all the possibilities and all the things that we can do outside of medicine to heal ourselves.
So you just said that your daughter had an illness. What happened there?
When she was young, we had moved from one state to another, and she was behind on her immunizations. My husband was in the Navy, and they like for everyone to have their immunizations. When I took her in, they said, oh, you're behind on your immunizations for her. We need to catch her up. And had a little cold, and I didn't really want them to give her all the immunizations at the time, but I hadn't looked into it, and I didn't really know. I just had this weird feeling, and I was like, hey, she's been sick. Do you think it's okay if she has these? Totally fine. It's not going to hurt her. So they gave her multiple immunizations at once, and she became sick. Over a long period of time, we noticed she stopped growing. She started losing weight. Her hair started thinning, and she was eventually diagnosed with celiac disease, and then subsequent to that, many years later, fibromyalgia.
Oh, my goodness. And how old was she when she got a fibromyalgia diagnosis?
That was probably 18, 19.
Oh,
and she was
goodness.
10 when she got the celiac disease diagnosis.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how is she today?
Well, she's still fighting. She's a beautiful 28-year-old, and she's so precious, and her spirit is beautiful, but she still has pain, chronic pain, constantly, and she still suffers from anxiety and depression.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So tell us about, right now you have Upgrade Labs in Austin. So tell us a little bit about some of the technologies that you're using there.
Yeah. So Upgrade Labs, it's our baby. We love it so much. It's our way to help elevate the vibration of our community by helping people feel better. So my favorite piece of tech right now at Upgrade Labs is our, what we call Red Charger. This is a bed that is, I think of it as a Star Trek bed, because not only does it have red light, but it has yellow light, it has green light, it has infrared light. It also has rife frequencies, so different frequencies of, say, a healthy liver, of a healthy kidney, frequencies of healthy skin, healthy brain. We also have another device inside of our red bed device. It's Energy for Life, so it'll scan your biofield, figure out what 5 top imbalances you may have, and then it will also send those frequencies into the bed, into your body, to help you balance those. I really do not have the diagnosis of depression. I will say, as long as I use that red bed, I am fine.
That is my favorite device there. Whenever I go, that is the thing that I use. And the thing that she's talking about with the different chords or the sounds, the frequencies, they actually have you talk to this tablet, and it determines what it is that you need based off of, I don't know, frequencies in your voice or tones or something like that. I cannot say enough good things about the red bed.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's so amazing. What I like about that is, so far as I know, we're the only people in Austin who have it. It gives you periods of hypoxia, or lower amounts of oxygen. So normally we're breathing 21% oxygen. And we'll set the device depending on your history and what's going on, and we'll assess you. You have a pulse oximeter on, so we're measuring your oxygen saturation and your heart rate. And will give you less oxygen, say 14% instead of 21%. That is training your mitochondria to be more mitochondrially or metabolically flexible. It's like altitude training. So it's training your body. It's like a workout while I'm laying back in an easy chair for 30 minutes, like taking a nap. It's so great for your VO2 max. It's great for your breath hold. It's great for all areas of your body and your mitochondria, and you're just laying there or sitting there, or you could be watching something if you want, or listening to something. So the lazy side of me loves it so much.
My son goes in and he does that because he is training for the fire department, and one of the scales that they have for part of their physical is their VO2 max and, what they can tolerate. One of the other devices that you have that I really like is the cryo.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how that works, and then what it does for people. Because most people hear cold, and I don't like cold weather, but I do go and put myself inside of the cryo because of the health benefits.
Yes. So our cryo is electric. Think about it as a big giant freezer that you get to walk into. The reason we're doing this is we're giving your body a little exposure. Short, intense bursts of cold exposure are good for your body. I don't know if you guys have heard of Wim Hof, but he really popularized cold plunging or swimming in a snowy, icy river. But that short period of exposure to cold has so many beneficial effects for your body. It decreases inflammation, so it's great for athletes, for anyone who had an injury. It also causes your metabolism to ramp up for a little while because your body is trying to warm itself up from the inside out. So you burn about about 400 extra calories from the time you get into the cryo to maybe a couple of hours later, because your body is warming itself up. So you're burning calories for like 2 or 3 minutes in this cold box. What else I love about it is because ours is full body, it's electric, so it's safe to get your head in there. The cold exposure to the head releases something called BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. That helps you with neuroplasticity, which is totally your bailiwick, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you're helping your brain, you're helping decrease neural inflammation, helping those neuronal connections. Also, it can, over time, it browns your fat. So white fat is that fat that causes or releases more inflammatory cytokines. Brown fat is the healthier fat, and so cold exposure over time causes you to brown your fat, so you're less inflammatory. So it has a lot of really great benefits, and you get out of it feeling so invigorated. I don't like cold. I will no longer do a cold plunge because my body just, it's too much for me. It causes me to dump more cortisol. I have a history of cortisol imbalance, so I love my cortisol being just how it needs to be. I just don't need that super stressor of the cold plunge. Some people love it and it's great for them. In Chinese medicine, we say also that women need less cold than men.
Yep.
Because we're more yin and men are more yang. And so if we're exposing ourselves to more cold, it can lead to a little bit of imbalance in women. So I like the cryo better because it's not quite as shocking to the system, and you're still getting the benefits of cold therapy without that shocking plunge into the cold water. And if you love it, that's great, but I like cryo better.
Yeah, I don't need the cold that they do. My body does not respond well with that, and I've actually watched my blood sugar go way up on my CGM if I do the cold plunge, but I can handle the cryo. Yeah, and I love your cryo because you put headphones on and you get to pick music, so you can actually just dance while you're in there, which is lots of fun.
Yeah, it distracts you from the cold, right?
Yep.
And you wear your mittens and your wool socks and you cover up your ears, and so it's not that bad. It's 2 to 3.5 minutes. You can do anything for 2.5 to 3. 2 to 3.5 minutes, right?
What are some of the other devices that you guys have? I know there's a compression thing for the legs.
Yes, I love that. So that's our big squeeze. It is a lymphatic massage suit. So you put it on and both legs are enclosed in the suit, and it comes up to over your waist. So at first, for about the first 5 minutes, it massages the abdomen, and so it's opening those thoracic ducts, so that the lymph that you're having massaged from your extremities up to the thoracic cavity will go into the lymph ducts so that it's not backing up. And then it starts to slowly squeeze from your toes, your feet, all the way up your thighs, all the way up your abdomen. And so it's just slowly, gently milking that lymph. So good for relaxation. It causes you to have this parasympathetic relaxation surge where it calms down the sympathetic nervous system. Makes you feel like you're wearing like a thunder coat for a person. That lymph, it's helping with your immunity. It's helping you to detox. It helps with water in the tissue. So if you happen to be edematous, swollen, it helps with that. People who are going to be going and walking the red carpet, they'll do a long session, and that will help to lose weight, lose a few pounds, slim their legs, and it also is good for cellulite. So, most guys don't have that, but us women, sometimes we can fight with that a little bit.
Well, and our lymph system gets backed up with the number of toxins that we have today. So that's a wonderful device. And then there was a cell device that measured cell health.
Cell health analysis. So I love that device too. So I guess I can't say I have one favorite.
There's so many.
There's so many. So the cell health analysis, what I love so much about that is you come in, we put you on this device, and in just a couple of minutes, it's running electricity through your body, and this electrical impedance is giving us data that we can look at. What's your extracellular water? What's your intracellular water? What's the ratio of those two, which gives us a look at your hydration status. It looks at your inflammation in your body. And where is that inflammation? Is it in your right leg? Is it in your left leg? In your trunk? What else I love about it is that it gives us something called a phase angle. So the phase angle is looking at your cellular or the health of your cell membranes and your mitochondrial membrane. So someone can look amazing, but their phase angle could be off, low. Maybe they're eating a lot of seed oils. Maybe they fly a lot and they're exposed to a lot of different radiation and EMFs and things like that. So it gives us something to measure, to actually know what's going on in your body. And then as we design a plan for you based on your goals and what we find on the cell health analysis, that helps us make that plan. And then as you're going through that plan, we look at that cell health analysis again to make sure we're taking you in the direction that we want. So we're not just asking you, do you think you feel better? Or actually have hard and fast data to look at to let us know that we are moving you in the right direction, that we're making a difference in your health, so that you're not just taking my word for it.
And they give you this cool printout that has a graph so you can watch yourself as you're changing on the paper, which is really helpful.
Since you mentioned that graph, is that when Billy and I first started into this, we were using our machine to build muscle. And if I didn't have the cell health analysis, I would have been upset because my weight was going up. And I'm like, wait, no, I'm working out. I'm trying to build muscle. Like, I don't want to gain weight. But then when I looked at the cell health analysis and I compared it to before I started, I gained muscle and lost fat. So then I was like, oh, okay, I'm totally fine with that. So it's really good so that we know that if you don't lose weight or you're gaining weight and maybe that's not really what you wanted to do, you can see, oh, these numbers are wonderful. So then you don't mind that you haven't lost weight, because really it's not the weight that matters, it's your body composition. So that's really helpful to know that.
Are there any devices that we left off?
We do have a brain trainer, so that's up in your alley too, right? Neurofeedback. We mainly use our neurofeedback to help people learn how to get into alpha really quickly. So many of us live stressful lives. You know, we're under deadlines. It's kind of a stressful world we live in right now, and a lot of times we have trouble getting into alpha, which is that relaxation brainwave state. So our neurofeedback device helps to train you to get into alpha state quicker, faster, easier, better, so that you don't have to spend, I love to meditate, and I meditate every day, but, you know, we don't want someone to have to spend 10, 20, 30 years of meditating until they learn how to get into that alpha state. So we're just teaching you how to get into that alpha state faster so that you are more relaxed more quickly, because we want to help you with your health, not only physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, every aspect of your body, not just one little piece.
And then outside of Upgrade Labs, you also do some other work.
Yeah, I am a NLP trainer and a certified hypnotherapist, nurse anesthetist, so I do anesthesia still. I also am a doctor of Chinese medicine, so I like to take the West and the East, put it together, and then use the NLP and the hypnosis to help people address whatever's going on in their life from a holistic aspect. So I love to help people with hypnosis. I love to do something called quantum time technique, which is a way to address some of maybe, say, your earlier trauma from childhood or ancestral, things like that. I think that is super exciting, because you could do all the things that we do at Upgrade Labs, and you could be very healthy physically. So we get in there and we address that deep trauma to help people heal on all aspects, all levels.
We can exercise and exercise, but if we've got trauma that's being held in our cells, then we're not actually fully healthy.
Yeah.
But you also do some work with perimenopausal women.
Oh, yes, that's another one of my favorite. I am a perimenopausal woman. I'm 57, and I have been in perimenopause for 11, almost 12 years now.
Okay.
So I know intimately how challenging perimenopause can be for women and for the people who love them, right?
Absolutely.
My husband has suffered, my children have suffered. And I have such a passion for this phase of life, of what it puts us through and how our emotion can be a roller coaster, and our sleep is affected, how we look at ourselves is affected, our brain is different, brain fog, all the things. And so I do love, love, love to help women figure out what's going on in their body and help them figure out, do you need hormones? And if you do, what hormones do you need? And then there's so much more than just hormones. Hormones are amazing and I love them, but perimenopause is just a huge, giant thing in a woman's life that we need support more than just hormones. Hormones are great, but it's not going to do it all.
I want to say, as a society, they prepare us for puberty. They do not prepare us for this phase in life, which I would actually call reverse puberty.
Yeah.
And I think it has been worse than anything I experienced during puberty as an adult woman.
I totally agree with you. And you know what? I'm so happy now is so many more women are talking about perimenopause. And I'm so glad. I started talking about it probably 10 years ago, because I've been in perimenopause for 11 years. But at the time, there weren't too many people talking about it, and I felt a little bit embarrassed because I was like, golly, why is this affecting me so much? Like, why am I losing my temper and screaming for no reason at all, it seemed like at the time? And why am I not sleeping in hot flashes and night sweats and brain fog? I was so embarrassed. My husband and I own a med spa and longevity clinic called L Aesthetics and Longevity. I did leave from working there for a while because the symptoms of perimenopause were so bad that I was afraid that I was going to be mean to somebody. So they're angsty and I'm angsty, and it was just a bad combo, right? And now I've gotten a handle on that. But at the time I was just like, what is wrong with me and how can I fix it? And so now I want to share with other women, at least, you know, there's no quick fix. I've learned a lot of things to help myself handle perimenopause, so I'd love to share that.
Yeah. And so I'm really excited because Natalie is one of the collaborators for our upcoming conference in January, where we are going to be working and talking about the impacts of perimenopause on mental health and physical health, and then some of the things that we can do in order to feel better during that phase of life. And she's also one of our collaborators for the retreat that we are planning also for perimenopausal women. So we're really excited about watching that chapter grow for all of us.
It's going to be amazing. Can't wait.
Okay, so if people want to reach out and they would like to talk to you either about Upgrade Labs or about Chinese medicine or perimenopause, how do they find you?
Probably the best way is to look me up on Instagram, Dr. Natalie, Natalie, Ledbetter, Led better. Dr. Natalie Ledbetter. And then you can just DM me. That's the easiest, quickest way to get a hold of me.
Hey, I always enjoy having conversations with you, and I'm excited for all of our collaborations. And for our viewers, I would like to say thank you for joining us again. Make sure you like, follow, share, and subscribe.